So, if you all remember what this is right here, we are back in AWS. This is our AWS console. We are getting ready to.
Hey Vic, real quick, there's a question in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I should have had this open. Quick question. So, if the username is O-line security, is that username and password the same for every person attached to O-line security? I love this question. I love this question. I love this question. I love this question because now you're thinking, and it allows me to introduce use case scenarios. I don't like saying real world scenarios because it doesn't sound right. We say use case scenarios. When you hear me say use case, I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about what we do at work. So, is the username O-line security? Is that username and password the same for everybody attached to O-line security? For Let me ask you this: do you want, if this is an FTP server? I'm not going to give you the answer just like that. I changed my mind. If this is an FTP server, we know it's clear text. We know it sends information in clear text. Do you want everybody in your organization being able to use this? No. Okay. Who would you want to use this? And you may or may not have the answer to that. I don't know your experience, but it's worth a shot, right? Who would you want exactly? Administrative users. Beautiful. So so how can I break this down without complicating it? So only administrative users, right? We're gonna have a certain group. We call this role based. Here, type it out. Right here. Cyber Thursdays, we're allowed to pivot off into different things. Thank you for this question right here. Appreciate it. So we only certain people will be allowed to use that username. Only certain people will, and honestly, with role based, they wouldn't really need. Let me not do that because with role based, they really wouldn't need the password. They would just need the username, and it could be tied with SSH keys. But role based is saying, okay, if Bobby has the role of administrator, if Bola has the role of administrator, if Alonzo has the role of an administrator, they can log in to this computer. They will be able to log into this FTP server. If they do not have that role, they can't log into it. If they have a normal user role, maybe they have the role of somebody of a they have the marketing department role or the financial department role. They wouldn't be able to log into this because this computer is only allowing people with a certain role. These are role-based controls. So no, everybody wouldn't be able to use the username and password to log in. Only people with the right permissions and the right access controls. Permissions, what are permissions? Permissions are just the rights that you have on the network. This computer is on the network. Do you have the right to log in there? Yes or no? Well, it's based on your permissions. It's based on the role that you have. Um, but this typically we would govern the access to this FTP server with a role. Beautiful question, man. I love it. Where were we? Got to be careful if you send me in the rabbit holes. I find it hard to come out of them. So, okay. AWS. We are going to build quickly build because we've already done this. I'm not going to go into the details again. And good news, the video's already been published. I just been delayed on putting it on Instagram. I might put it on there tonight, but we are going to quickly stand up a Windows server and download Wireshark and show you what encrypted versus unencrypted traffic looks like through your web browser. If you don't know what a web browser is, we're on it right now. We're using Firefox. There's Chrome, there's Safari. My favorite, well, yeah, my favorite is DuckDuckGo. That's a feature I'm using on my Firefox. I use DuckDuckGo because a lot of these websites you go to, they save your cookies, and you'll probably be on Amazon one day, and then you go on Facebook, and then on Facebook you see something you were searching for, and it's like, okay, what's going on? It's because cookies were saved. So, let's quickly, and if you're not familiar, two-factor authentication, y'all, big thing on the Security Plus, big thing. You can practice two-factor authentication now. I practice it with everything I have on the internet, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, AWS, anything, my emails, everything. Two-factor authentication. It's literally what the name implies. You have two factors to authenticate, two different factors to prove that you are who you say you are. AWS by nature, this AWS console right here, by nature, forces you to use two-factor authentication. So in order to log in, your first factor is a password. Your first factor is a password. This is called something you know. The password is something you know. There are 5 different things. Maybe I'll remember them, maybe I won't. But the password is called something you know. That's what we typed in first. The second one, that code that you just saw me enter, that's something you have. That is something you have. Those are 2 factors, 2 different factors. Something you know, which is a password. You know your password. And then something you have, which is the token I entered. Google has an app called Google Authenticator. Every 30 seconds or 60 seconds, it changes. It gives you a 6-digit code and it changes it every 30 or 60 seconds. I can't remember right now. But that code changes. That's something you have. You don't know it. If you know it, you have some supernatural powers because it changes randomly every 30 or 60 seconds. But on your exam, it's important. You have something you have, something you know, somewhere you are, like something you do, like a pattern, and there's one more. If somebody remembers it, please remind me. But we're gonna go and start up our Windows 2000. Get away from 2019. Amazon has been charging me. Goodness gracious. Just jump to the end. We've already went into these details. I'm going to go back a little bit so I can set up my security groups and my tags. Remember, in security, another interview tip, some more cool points, document everything. Document everything. Be descriptive with everything, because I'm telling you, it's going to save you more times than you can ever think of. So that's what I'm doing now with this tag. I always have a name tag. I always have a description of everything that I'm working with, because there's so many things moving around, so many things going on. By the time we come back to a server, or by the time we come back to a project or something, we need notes in order to keep progress and move forward. We need notes so we can read it. Okay, this is what we did. This is where we left off at. This is what I need to do next. So that's why I like to put that name tag so I know what that server is. I don't like creating new security groups. I'll just use this guy. All right, so this is going to take like a few seconds to start up. I should say a few minutes. While that is starting up, I want to go over this. I want to go over some more Security Plus stuff. So port numbers. Take a screenshot of this if you need to. For the Security Plus exam. Ports, you want to know all of these ports except for, I'm not going to say except, I would know all of them on here, but from previous experiences, they don't really quiz you on IRC, which is the Internet Relay Chat. That's port 194. And if anybody got quizzed on it, who's taking it, please let me know. And I think that's it. The rest of them, 119. I think you're going to see 123 over 119. But if anybody, I know a few people in here are taking the exam. Typically, we only see port 21, 22, 23, 25, 53, 80, 110, 123, 143, 161, and 443. Now, we already know what port 2021 is. That's used for FTP. Port 22, SSH. Okay? SSH. We use that to remote log into computers. For the most part, when it comes to your Security Plus exam, that's what it's going to be referring to. Remote logins. It's not going to really go into details of transferring files from system to system. 22 is for remote logins. And to be specific, is for secure remote logins. Port 23, also for remote logins. But guess what? Telnet is not encrypted. Telnet is just like FTP, but FTP sends files. Telnet does remote logins. It does a whole bunch of other things. You can test if a port is open and whatnot. But for your exam, Telnet is for remote logins. It's unencrypted. If you want an encrypted remote login, we're going to use port 22. Now, port 25, SMTP. This is a mail transfer protocol. And since we're talking about mail, I'm going to jump. Port 25, port 110, and port 143. Port 25, SMTP. Port 110, POP3. Port 143, IMAP. Those are the three mail transfer protocols. 25, 110, 143. You will see that on your exam. Now, what I'm about to say next about them, you may not see, but these are just more cool points. Let me check on our server real quick. Okay. Almost ready. Yeah. Oh, she's almost ready. We'll see. But really quick, cool points. 25. There's a difference between these mail protocols. 25 is simple mail transfer protocol. 110 is POP3. I'm not going to say the whole thing. And 143 is IMAP. So 25. Now, I don't think they quiz you on this on the exam, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure they don't. 25 is what we use to send mail. Port 25 is what we use to send mail. I'll say it one more time. Port 25 is what we use to send mail, okay? POP3 and IMAP. POP3, port 110, and IMAP, port 143. That is what we use to retrieve mail. We use IMAP and POP3 to retrieve mail. The difference between the two, there's a difference. Can't click and talk at the same time. You can laugh, it doesn't matter. No, it's not ready. I thought it was ready. So the difference, I thought they were ready. Wait. So the difference between POP3 and IMAP, right? IMAP is what we're used to. IMAP is what we're used to. You log into Gmail, you log into Yahoo, Outlook, AOL once upon a time ago. You log into these email servers or email providers, and you check your email. You can check it there. You can close the browser. You can come over to my house, which you're not allowed to. You can come over to my house and you can check your email here. You can go to your mom, your dad, your brothers, the library, school, wherever, and you can check the same email from anywhere. And you'll see the same thing. Those emails are not being downloaded, physically downloaded to your computer. They stay with the email provider. which is why you can access the emails from multiple locations, which is why we're more familiar with IMAP, and which is why most organizations use IMAP. Then you have POP3, which is the opposite. These emails are being downloaded to your server. So just imagine logging into your work email and everything that you get. I don't know about you guys, but I get like hundreds of new emails every day. Those are being downloaded onto my physical computer or onto a physical server that's collecting it. It takes a lot of space, it takes a lot of resources, and it takes a lot of time. This is why you see POP3 is still used a lot, but you're at work, you're going to see IMAP for the most part. The way I remember it, I have this little thing. I try to do something silly to help me remember things, especially when it came to the exam. POP3, I'm just popping the emails off the server and saving it onto my computer. Boom. I remember POP3. I know IMAP is opposite. I already know SMTP is sending traffic. SMTP sends. Okay. Maybe weird. It worked for me. It worked for some other people. Just try to find something that works for you as well. Hopefully we can connect to this guy now. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? Talking about guy. Amazon's never made me wait 4 minutes. I can't download it yet. All right. Amazon doesn't want to cooperate right now. We have to wait a few minutes to get our password. It's weird. Okay. So while we're waiting, let's talk about the other protocols. So after 25, we have port 53. 53. And Amazon likes to call this route DNS. This is route 53, route DNS. Because 53 is what we use to access to resolve domain names. And if I were to talk about resolving domain names right now, that wouldn't do a lot of you a favor. It's easy to break down, but I just gave you a whole bunch of different protocols that I want you to digest first before I talk about resolving DNSs. Which is why I want this to work. Okay, Amazon, you're kidding me. I'm not messing with you
Hey Vic,
right now, buddy. Yes, sir.
um, not to send you down a rabbit hole, does that mean that we
I love
hit?
them, man.
Does that mean that we hit 53 before we hit 80 when we're just doing web searches?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm trying to. You did it. So you did it, man. So, I'm trying not to go into OCSP stapling right now. But in yes, we do. You hit port 53 before you browse. Because, all right, so forget it. If this doesn't work right now, we're just going to go into that. I like talking about DNS.